Shout out Platt for this beat, I'ma rip some.
Relax and breathe. Relax with me. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Relax and breathe. Relax with me. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. You can relax to this. Peace and blessings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an episode of Relax and Breathe with me. I'm your brother, your friend, your homie, your loved one, Rock Muhammad. And tonight, we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to have an interview with a friend of mine I've known for over 35 years. Go back. And P. Dew, that's his name. Y'all know him. Y'all know him by P. Dew, but now he goes by the distinguished name BoMani RA.
I was just like, brother.
Yeah, you good.
All right. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I caught the flu or something, man. They had me down for about a week, brother.
Really?
They put me on my back. I don't know what y'all got out here.
Yeah. And there's all kind of stuff floating around now, bro.
Yeah.
They even making up stuff that's floating around.
Exactly. Yeah, but you know, other than that though, I'm good, grateful.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I am so happy to see you out. And this is my dude, man. I was just telling them in the introduction that we go back like 35 years or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just man, when you told me you was getting out, when I found out that you was getting out after 27 years, I was just blown away, because a lot of people don't, once they got that kind of time, they don't make it out.
No, they don't.
They get caught up. You know better than I do.
Yeah, nah, well, and for a long time, it wasn't like they were letting people out, you know? It was like, if you get it's a trip. When I first went to prison, you would be people who had only like 5 years of life, but they had been there like 20 years, you know what I'm saying? And so those dudes would tell you, it don't matter if you got 1 year, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. If you got the life on it, you ain't going to never go home anyway. So, you know. So, I mean, that right there was just the reality of it. And that's how you seen it.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't until just very recently to where you started seeing people go home.
Yeah. Yeah. They changed some laws, right? It was something, if you did something before a certain age, then you could be reconsidered or something.
Well, those laws, but it was just a mix of just different laws. You know, you got elderly parole laws, and you just have all kind of laws that had changed the like degree or the magnitude of some laws. You know what I'm saying? To where people get their time knocked off. But right now, it's a lot of resentencing. So basically, it's like this. See, today, if you're able to show that you've been programming for at least 5 years, meaning, so you got to be able to show you've been going to groups, you've been, going to college or whatever the case may be, got a GED, whatever, right? After 5 years of clean time, you could put in some paperwork basically, right? Whether it's through the DA or the prison, your counselor can put it in, and that'll qualify you for like being re-sentenced. So people is getting out just like that too, though.
Yeah. So it's all different kind of things, huh?
Yeah. So,
And then the weed thing too. People that got locked up for selling like bulk weed or some selling weight, they got time off too, didn't they?
What do you mean? Like people?
Because they legalized weed.
Yeah. But you remember, like, see, back when I caught my case, you had brothers who They just got caught with a pipe with caviar on it and got 30 years. You know, like I mean, it was a whole different ball game back. Like they was locking everybody up.
Right, for everything. Yeah.
All of those dudes got kicked out. You know what I mean? But after doing 20 years though.
Right. That's crazy. Just ruin somebody's life over a plant.
Exactly.
That's great. So let me ask you this. Tell me about your life before you got into gangs.
Well, all right. Well, basically, okay. Look, see, because unfortunately, right? Unfortunately, there really was never a time that I wasn't in the gangs. You know, and I say it like this, like I kind of think I know what you're talking about as far as when I started like banging. You know what I'm saying? But as far as getting into gangs, you know, the way I grew up was I grew up right in the heart of Skyline, right? So it was always right there. But I never really understood what it was. But when I was about 5, I had an older homie named Bernard, and his brothers and sisters was already banging. So he was like 11. So he had already knew about all that stuff. So, and I remember him putting me up, like, well, this is what his brother's about. This is what the homies is about. And he's laying all this down. And that's the first time that my eyes opened and I became aware, like, okay, this is what's going on around here, right?
Right.
And that's when I was about 5. And since that time, I always claimed that I was from Skyline. You know what I mean? That's just how that went. You know what I mean? But at the time, of course, I wasn't banging. So I was just a kid. But all of the stuff that I was into, you know, as far as at that time, was a lot of the things that most kids was into, you know, around Southeast, you know, riding bikes. You know, back then it was still a lot of canyons. You know, you know, your bike can be, you know, there like all day, or like, you know, going down to Spring Valley to the movie theater, you know, playing football, you know, playing sports, so on and so forth. You know, going to the skating ring, you know, just things like that. You know, the boys club, you know, 693 Street Boys Club. Like, those were the things we had did, and those were the things I was into.
Right.
Yeah, just you know, things kids did, you know, back in the days in Southeast.
Yeah. I was I'm what you consider 5950, because part of my childhood was in the Brims, and we did the same thing in the basement. We used to ride the Seaport Village. It'd be like 20 of us.
Yeah, be like all at the beach. Yeah,
and all these cats. Yeah, we would ride our bikes to.
We're like 8 and 9 years old, like at the beach. You know what I'm saying? No, yeah, you on the real.
Catching crabs, and then we bring them back, and they fighting, and we step on them and put firecrackers on them. Yeah, we were terrible.
You know,
but we did this. And canyons. The canyon thing.
Or just, you know, it was so many kids back then too. Like, you know, I don't know if you really thought about this though, Brother Rock, but just check this out. See, I didn't actually grow up on Gribble. I grew up off of Gribble. So my street turns off of Gribble, Old Oak, and it turns into Sienna, and it goes back up. So one day, I'm counting, right? Do you know, just on my little circle street, it was 55 kids growing up when I grew up. And I was like, damn, that's a lot. So I'm not talking about that part of Gribble and the other part of Gribble or Peter Pan. I'm not talking about nothing. I'm talking about just on my little block, it was 55 kids. So as I was thinking about it, I was like, damn, that's a lot of kids. So I started thinking about just Southeast in general. That's why it was so easy for my street to like play against the next street in football. You know, I mean, it was easy to get games going and so forth, and that's the things that like we would do. You know what I mean? Come like people this block and that block, and like sports and things like that. You know, popping willies and, you know, shit like that.
Yeah, we was all doing that. Seeing who could pop the willie the longest to go down
like
the street,
that,
who could turn the corner with it. We was getting good at that stuff,
breaking
the
top,
and then you mentioned
all
canyon.
That.
You mentioned them canyons. There was a canyon we called called Magic Mountain. You'd have to be a real South Crest veteran to know about Magic Mountain. But one time we went down Magic Mountain on some hard car particle
Yeah.
board. Man, that thing blew up. We all flew up in the air. We was like
Yeah.
the little rascals, man.
Yeah.
Everybody fell out, got
Yeah.
the wind knocked out of them, but do we brush ourselves off and get up
Exactly.
and go find another piece of
But
cardboard?
it's
You know?
crazy because we actually had a Magic Mountain in the Skyline Canyon too.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, and it was just way on top, and it was a gang of stuff, and you come down. Yeah, I don't think any parent would allow their kids to be in those canyons today, though.
No, man, we were something else. It was that. See, when I hear the commonality of our
Yeah,
childhoods and so many other people that can relate, especially if they grew up in Southeast, especially during that
yeah,
time. You know, things are different now.
yeah,
Back then, we played outside. You know,
exactly.
if you had video games, your family was probably well off or something.
Yeah,
You know, but we
yeah,
played outside.
yeah,
You know, we wanted to go
yeah,
outside. We wanted to play tackle in the street
yeah.
sometimes to show how tough we
Throw
was.
up.
You know, we
Yeah, playing throw up. Yeah, all that. Yeah, yeah, all that. Yeah,
you know, yeah. So yeah, that's amazing. So is P Do your real name? Where'd you get that name? Is that your real name?
well, my grandmother gave me my name, right?
Mm.
And so that's a family name, and a lot of people don't know exactly why I got that, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna just put it out there, you know what I mean? But it's a family name, and it's a funny name, but it was a loving name because my grandmother gave it to me because as a baby I would pee pee and doo doo on myself, and so she was like, that's Peter. Yeah, yeah, and it's Peter.
Wow, I
Yeah,
see it. It's like clear as day
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it just stuck, you know what I mean? And it just became my name.
That is, I want to say cute. I'm not supposed to say that, but it is cute. It's cute.
Yeah,
That is something
yeah.
else. So how did you actually just get into the game? I mean, how did you get active? What was there somebody? Because I mean, you mentioned somebody named Bernard. He the one kind of brought you into the mentality of it. Because
No.
I can say I identify with what you said. Because when I was young, I didn't know what they was talking about. I knew they had a lot of respect for certain people that were, you know, with Stacey Adams and
Yeah,
stuff and perms and stuff, and I didn't know with their G status or
yeah.
nothing. But what got you to actually get active?
Well, like what I shared earlier, right? Previously, that's really the story in all the neighborhoods, because you
Mm.
would know I had grew up
Yeah,
with a gang of cats from everywhere, you know what I mean? So it
yeah,
was
right,
common for everybody to kind of go through what I went through. But
right,
But what I'm getting at is, so no, Bernard made me aware. You know what I mean? That's when my eyes opened up, like, okay, these aren't just dudes around here. These are homies. These
right,
are, bloods or whatever, right? So now that my eyes open, so I'm just, claiming that I'm from Skyline, right? So as time is going on, I'm 10 and 11, all this other stuff. It was like, on one level, of course, I'm getting older, you know, and I'm in the street. Like I said, we was always in the street, you know what I
mm,
mean? And when you look at what was going on in the street, the homies was in the street, you know what I mean? And then we came up in that era where things changed drastically. Like, I don't really think people understand what they call the so-called crack era really did. You know what I'm saying?
right.
It's like
Yeah,
when
it
that came,
devastated the community.
no, I mean it hella devastated it, but when it came in, it took things to such another level to where you're
Right, with the
like,
gang
okay,
stuff.
yeah, so on one level, whether it was just, making money, or just being a part of that kind of movement, you know, um, you know, that's what attracted me on one level. But to answer your question, right, as far as in essence though, it was my desire for respect, homie.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I could say the same thing.
Yeah, that's what it was, homie.
Hmm.
And so, growing up, I had never really felt that I, fit in, but when you really think about it, we wasn't really made, it really wasn't set up for us to be made to fit in, homie. It's like growing up, I always felt that I was different from the mainstream norm. You know what I mean? I always felt that it was, them and then it was us. And things like that. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so, and this is just as a child, homie, and then just growing up with no father, you know what I'm saying, and having like acceptance issues and abandonment issues and so on and so forth, I would look around and, because this is all internal stuff now, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking around and I see my uncles and they seem to have respect. I look at the older homies and they seem to have respect. You know what I mean? And so I'm looking up to these dudes, but I don't necessarily feel within myself that I'm respected, right? You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
don't really, I don't really see in myself too much talent or nothing. You know what I mean? It's certain things that I didn't really see in myself, but what I did see was that as far as in this element, this gang element, um, it was about respect, right? And I saw that the way to get into that, right, was through violence, because through to gain respect in a gang, right, you gain respect in a gang through violence, homie. So growing up, you catch a couple phase and you kind of get your squabble game up, this and that. Once you get your little heart and like you become down, the homies give you respect. You know what I mean? And so the more the homies gave me respect and gave me that acceptance, that like more, I had became all in. And
Yeah.
that's really what it was, huh?
Yeah. 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 I could say I agree. I concur,
Yeah.
as they say. So, do you think that you would have got into prison if you hadn't joined the gang?
Well, the thing about that is this. See, there's a lot of stuff that wouldn't have happened if I would have never joined the gang, of course. But the
Mm.
fact of the matter is, I still had a criminal mindset, though. I still had a criminal way of thinking. You know what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
want. I did not mean to laugh. The reason why I laughed, because you know why I laughed, because
Why?
you told me. I hope you don't mind me bringing this up.
Yeah, I know. But that's just how
You
gone I
told
was
me,
at this time, though, brother. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, where you was at the time,
Yeah,
but
yeah, where I was at the time.
you told me you wanted to go to Folsom.
Yeah.
That's how far gone you was. If you don't mind me saying, I mean, it was
Yeah,
like some
yeah,
guys want to go to Penn State, but some guys
yeah,
want to go to the Penn. I
yeah,
mean, you were the first and only person I ever heard say that. I knew cats that lived it.
yeah.
You were conscious of how, you know, how motivated you was to your gangster was like that.
Well, let me say this first and foremost. That tells you to be careful of what you speak. I mean, you know what I'm saying, though? That's
Ooh,
number one. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's number one. But yeah, you talking about the time when we was in Campo and I was on the
Mm-hmm.
weight pile. We was on the weight pile. We was buffing. And so I'm curling and I'm doing a curl saying Folsom. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. I
Oh
know.
man.
But those was the examples. You got to think, homie. You know what I mean? Those was the examples. My uncles, in and out of the pen. You know what I mean? They got respect. The homies, you know what I'm saying? You know, in and out of the pen. They all got respect. You know what I mean? And so it was like, I mean, it's different now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure everybody didn't think like me. I can only speak for myself. But the
Right.
way that I looked at it is, I wanted to be one of the downest homies. I didn't start off as one of the downest homies. I didn't start off, what I mean, too down at all. You know what I'm saying? To keep it clean, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
You start off kind of like scared of a lot of different things. A lot of cats won't admit that, you know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
when you start talking about, you know, getting involved to those levels though, it takes a lot of courage, homie. You know what I'm saying though?
Or just blind, don't give a fuckness. I mean,
Yeah,
cause
well, yeah, that. You know what I'm saying?
you,
That.
you
That.
know, cause I as
I
when
could
I
take
was
that
out
back. It's
there,
not courage, but it's, yeah, blind. I don't give a fuck.
yeah, it was for me. I didn't have no enemies. Nobody, no enemies existed to me at the time, and so I did a lot of stuff. My baby mama was like, "There's so many times you could have got yourself killed," because I did a lot of crazy shit.
Yeah.
And but looking back, then I just wasn't thinking. I just didn't care,
Yeah, you didn't care.
and that can work against you,
Yeah.
especially as you get older, because I don't care about appearances a lot. I don't care about superficialness. With me, it's all about depth. It's about what's really going on.
Yeah.
It's not about what I see on the surface, So, and sometimes that makes me look like maybe I should care a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I gotta work. I work with that. That's why I invented this meditation style, relax and breathe, for myself.
Yeah.
To help me rein my stuff in, because that stuff, you kind of always stays with you in some kind of way. Even if you're on the path, you're trying to be a better person, it's like you're just a moment away from becoming that if you're in the wrong situation.
Exactly.
So that just don't go away. Once you're a warrior, you're always a warrior.
Exactly.
It just don't go.
Hey, but it's interesting you said that, right? Because no, you really hit the nail on the head, homie. Because it's like it's a buildup of so many things, right? It's the acceptance issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's trying to be respected, so on and so forth. But at the same time, it's that attitude of it starts off, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? And it builds up. You know what I mean? And it transforms itself into I don't give a fuck. And once you stop giving a fuck, once you stop caring to that level, yeah, it ain't no telling where you're gonna end up.
Right. And I'm lucky.
Yeah.
I'm lucky. I know there's a lot of things that I could have got caught up with that didn't get me in that same situation.
Yeah.
I know that, and that's a fact. So I stopped right when I should have,
Yeah.
before I got caught up like that. So I'm just glad you're out, bro. But you kind of explained to me one thing too about the mindset, how it's like a next level up in there about you know compared to the streets,
Yeah.
with the I guess I don't give a fuckness.
Well,
Could you
yeah.
elaborate a little bit on that when you said it was next level? You
Well, okay, because it's like this, like, if you really think back, so I came in 95, right? So if you really think back to that build up from about like 89 to 95, right? Like our generation, you know, just the mentality of the street, in my opinion, got harder, homie. I mean, from 89, 90, 91, it's like South Fees got kind of treacherous. So we started because when I got out of Glen Mills in 92, that's why I was like, okay, it's on another level. So I had to kind of make adaptations even then, you know, just kind of like, be on the same page as everybody, what I'm saying? Else was like moving on at that time. So,
yeah.
so, so like my mentality had already kind of like changed, right? So now when you start talking about going to prison, so now you going to prison and you going into a situation now, what, 96? It was 96 when I hit prison. Level 4, 180. So back at that time, you got to think prison was not geared to rehabilitate you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's still
Prison.
isn't, is it? It
Well,
still isn't.
well, now it's CDC-R. See, when I went to the pen, it was CDC. Now it's CDC-R. You know what I mean? So they got the R on it, the rehabilitation. But back
Oh,
then it was CDC, and it wasn't no programs to rehabilitate, none of that. It was basically like, look, we're here, we're 1,000 miles away from home, we're all we got. Here's this piece, and it is what it is. Ain't no hope, homie. Ain't nobody talking about, paroling, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody going home. Ain't nobody going home. Look, check this out. Just to give you an example, what I mean, you got dudes who would come out to go to breakfast, because I had a neighbor, you know what I mean, and he had come out, we'd greet each other, And his whole ritual in the morning was, today is a good day to die. But when I think back to that, this is how, this was something that helped him survive, though, homie. You know what I'm saying? Though, because of the way it was, homie, it was like, when I first hit the line, anybody take that many 14 got shot every day. It didn't miss a day, homie. Like I'm telling you, anybody who was in Salinas Valley in 96 would tell you the many 14 got fired every day, sometimes 3, 4, 5 times a day, and that's just how it was, homie. So you seen for yourself, like, okay, boom, you know what I mean? So, and it was one of those things.
For those people that aren't familiar with a Mini 14, you're talking about the gun that the guards have to shoot the inmates?
Yeah, so now trip over what I'm saying. So the politics was like this. It was like, okay, if you got so you got people who was underneath, okay, you could go to the pen, right? You're not even tripping like that. You're like, okay, well, I'm in the pen, I got this time, I'm just trying to just do my time and go home. Okay, that's how you're thinking. But the next man is underneath a script where his script is this, that if he's told to go on a mission, he got to go on a mission, and he cannot stop his mission until they shoot. And if he stops, his ass is grass. So therefore, that's the level, homie. So even if you don't care, so just think about this. You don't care, but you're in an environment where that's the level. He is going to attack you, and he's not going to be able to stop until they shoot. So basically, one of y'all going to probably get killed. So what I'm trying to say is, homie, so in order for you to survive, you learn fast. That's the level I got to be on, period. Or else it's just not going to work.
Wow. So it's kind of like the same attitude that your neighbor had. It's basically you probably not saying it to yourself, but that's the reality.
That's why he had that attitude, homie. You know what I mean? That's why he had it, and so, so I think back to that, and I'm like, yeah, man, like, that's crazy. I mean, that's insane, homie. It's insane. But that's just what it was.
That's crazy, bro. So what made you change? I mean, was there something that got hold of you that influenced you over time, or what made you go on the path to the straight path?
Well, I'm gonna say this, right? When I first hit the pen, I was 22. And I can remember this clearly, homie, I swear. When I first hit that yard, prison was bigger than me. Because it was like, okay, I got to figure all this out. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at it, and it's just bigger than me, homie. I'm this little micro dot. You know what I'm saying? But as time went on, I had began to kind of like understand it more. You know what I'm saying? And begin to kind of like master it, homie, you know what I mean? Or put myself in a position to where, I could maneuver better. You know what I'm saying? I could see the ins and outs of it, basically, right?
Yeah.
So that was number one.
That was smart.
And number two, though, it's like, man, look, this is as real as it get, homie. It went on, at first, it started off, all my homies was getting smoked, like everybody was getting smoked, but that's just how it was in the 90s. Then it became family. All my grandparents is dead. You know what I'm saying? I got cousins, homie, who, who I don't even know. I got cousins who got kids, homie. I got a whole generation of family I don't even know, homie. You know what I'm saying? Just sitting back thinking about that, right? Just sitting back thinking about that. But I swear, homie, I had did 4 years in the hole. And so, in the hole, you gotta go to your visits, and chains and shackles and stuff. And, and seeing my mother and seeing my grandmother come to visit me, and I'm going in there shackled up, and I'm seeing how old they getting, homie. You know what I mean? My grandmother getting old, talking about she trying to stay alive long enough to see me come home. Seeing my mother becoming my grandmother's age, and then looking at them, looking at me, getting old my damn self.
Right,
You
right.
you and just things like that, homie. It's like these are the things that started making me think, homie.
Wow. And so that was deep. That was deep. People need to marinate on what you just said, because the whole purpose of you talking like this, and sometimes we need triggers,
Yeah,
we need to hear something that somebody say. It could be real
yeah,
small. It could be something they did. It could be real
yeah.
small, and that it can influence somebody to take their stuff serious, take their life serious.
Yeah, but anyway, so what was you saying though, right? You can continue because I'm almost there.
Oh, I was just saying that, sometimes there's things that help us pivot,
Yeah,
to change because all of what you just said was so real, man. Because I'm looking at you, and I'm sure you looking at me, and we both got gray,
yeah,
gray beards and stuff.
yeah.
And when we was young, we didn't look like that,
No, 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 on the real though.
So what made you change? What was it that sparked you to get? Was it religion, education? What'd you do in there with your time? How'd you get on the straight?
Well, are you talking about coping or just what?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the right question. What did you do to cope with all of what you just said? How about that?
Well, okay. Well, look, to keep it clean, right? Initially, you start off coping the way you've been coping. So
Right.
I had negative coping skills. So and like that's from the street. So
Mm-hmm.
you come to the pen and you carry those same coping traits. You know what I'm saying? You get high. You know what I'm saying? You drink. You know what I'm saying? You get high, or if not, you just act out. I mean that's just what it is.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, I had started getting a lot of literature. So it was reading at first. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of literature, a lot of history.
Yeah.
Stolen legacy, all those type of things. And
Yeah.
so once I got the history, that was able to take my mind,
Yeah.
through like space and time. You know what I mean? It
Mm-hmm.
had transcended that. And then
Yes.
it was the religion, you know what I mean? And so I was like I told you, I had practices with the Christianity, then I had went Islam, you know what I'm saying? Because remember you, brother Daryl, so forth, I remember y'all was on post, you know what I'm saying? And so that's how I, got involved with like Islam. So I'm still Muslim today, but it also came a point where like we had talked about before, as far as when it came to my spirituality, I kind of came into that, so that's when I got involved with in the mental net, etc. So that's what helped me get through was really studying, reading, salats, meditations, you know what I mean, and so on and so forth, getting knowledge itself,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Far as on
Yeah.
that
I
tip,
want to. Yeah. And I want to elaborate just a little bit, or emphasize, I should say, on reading, how that can help with mental health.
Yeah.
I just put a little mental health note in there that reading could help with depression.
Yeah.
If you're suffering from depression and stuff like that, pick up a book. There's two things you can do. You can pick up a book and read, and then also you can journal, because
Yeah.
that's something that helped me too, was journaling. I
Well,
mean,
see,
not in jail, but in dealing with mental health
but
issues and stuff.
but no, that's so true, right? Because that's basically what happened. You gotta think. Look, it was times to where we'll be on lockdown 10 months. You ain't seeing that yard for 10 months.
Wow.
So you be in the cell. And so, we had our program, up at 4 in the morning, bust down, all that. And then, I'm reading, so I got my books lined up. I'm reading just like you said. I'm taking notes, I'm journaling, I'm doing this and that. And it's taking my mind away from being here. I'm homie, I'm all in like Egypt somewhere, Nubia and all kind of stuff, homie.
Right.
I'm all around the
Right.
world, homie. You know what I mean? And it took me to a whole nother area, homie, to where I didn't have to focus on where I was at.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So did you take some classes? Like what type of did you take advantage of any of the educational programs that they had, certifications or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They had see, they had just started offering that stuff, homie. They started offering that stuff, I just say within the last 10 years, from my understanding, you know what I mean? And but at first, well, they always had AA and NA, you know what I'm saying? But what it was this, how it came to me, you know what I'm saying, was that I think my homie Marv, I think, was the first one who had got a date. And so when I found out Marv got a date, I'm like, damn, Marv is, like that was breaking news, you know what I'm saying? Though? So he gets out. So I'm like, okay, Marv is getting out. Then I started kind of paying attention. People are being let out. So then I started being told, well, they're now bringing programs in, and it's geared to help you, meet all of the requirements that the board is, trying to have you meet. So AANA, they had been had that. But like I told you, there's another one that was called CGA. And CGA is the Criminals and Gang Members Anonymous. You know what I'm saying?
Wow,
And so a Mexican dude made that. He had bought that in effect, think in the late 90s or early 2000s.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, and look, I'm gonna just say it like this, just to keep it clean about it, in studying that was the first time to where I really was able to kind of focus in on mentality, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Because it teaches, like how you asked me the question. If you wouldn't have been a gamer, would you have came to prison? See, CGA is what taught me. Well, this whole thing is this. Um, every criminal is not a gang member, but every gang member is a criminal. See, I had never even thought about nothing like that. But just think about it. Every criminal ain't a gang member, but every gang member is a criminal.
just
So
by being a gang member.
you know what I'm saying? Just little stuff like that. But it focuses on the criminal mentality, the gang mentality. So I know we're gonna wrap this up, but let me just say this because it's kind of interesting though. It's kind of interesting. So it says, well, the criminal mentality, the gang mentality. So when it comes to the gang mentality, it speaks about how the beliefs you accept as a gang member drives you. So just think how we grew up. You from the set, homie. You got to be a rider, and you can't let nothing go. And you accept that idea, homie. And this is what you come to believe, homie. And this is how you live your life, period, homie. And you throw 27 years of your life away. You sacrifice your family and everything, homie. You know what I'm saying? Though? Because you believe in what you was told to that extent. You know what I'm saying? But and I was like, damn, that's heavy, right? But but it comes into the traditions, the
Yeah,
rituals, the customs that tend to um be in play when it comes to being a part of a gang. So I never really tripped off of that on how, as a gang member, I lived ritualistically. I got up, and did the same things day in and day out. It was a pattern of behavior. I had never tripped before on how, just think about this. Growing up in Southeast, you got, for the most part. So now let's just talk about Lincoln Park and Skyline. Just. So for the most part, Lincoln plays for VP, Skyline plays for Skyline.
yeah,
And you remember back in the day, Skyline was red and black, homie. So Skyline is red and black, Lincoln is green. You know what I mean? And all the homies played for these things. You know what I mean? So when you look at where the practice was at, when you looked at where the games was played, and you looked at what it kind of meant to play on that team, it was like, not for everybody, but for somebody like myself, to play for the team was to play for the neighborhood,
that's
and to
it.
some extent for the gang, homie, because look, we would play VP or like play Balboa, and it'd be like, look, the whole thing was at the end of the game, whose paint you got on your helmet, and because the paint you got on your helmet, that's putting in work. So these types of things,
Yeah, I remember that.
you know what I mean?
I
So
didn't play but I remember hearing that.
yeah. So these types of things, even though the Pop Warner, program didn't bring these things in like that, but the influences of the neighborhoods crept into it like that. And it
Yeah,
became traditional, you know what I mean? And it
that's right.
became these influences. So yeah, CGA kind of like helped me focus on that, homie.
Yeah, that's a good program. I like
Yeah,
that. I like that because it is complicated, and the game thing is so embedded. It's tribal
yeah,
now. It's a culture, and nobody can deny that. I mean, it has all the elements of a culture of, like, in Africa, a
yeah,
village or something like
yeah,
that, a tribe over there. It's the same stuff. It's all tribal, and that's why it's so deeply embedded, and that's why it's like such cleansing to see someone call themselves an ex-gang member. You know,
exactly.
because when you corrected me about your name and was like, I'm BoMani RA,
Hmm.
and I was like, yeah, that's right. I respect that,
Yeah,
because that's and unfortunately there's not enough of that separation happening,
yeah,
everybody's still kind of like affiliated,
yeah,
and of course it's deep because it's family and you
yeah.
know people a long time, so it don't go
Yeah.
away, but it's about the mindset though,
Can I
that,
address
like
that
you
though?
said.
Can I
Yeah,
address that though? Look, okay, let me address that. Cause you're correct. It's about the mind state. And that's exactly what it is. So now, look, I understand, right? Because I come up just like we all come up, homie. I know, you know what I'm saying? So back in the days, coming up, if I heard somebody saying S gang member this and that, I'd be like, man, whatever. Because just the thought was, if you really think about it, the thought basically be for that to be the case, evidently you taking on something that's going against your nature. Because we become a part of this thing, just like you said, the homies is with it, I've been with it, our families is with it, this is us. So now for you to come and say that, it's as if you going against your like nature or something. You know what I'm saying? Though? So I get why people may feel like that, right? And if you do, I mean, that's just what that is. You know what I mean? It's all good. But
yeah,
I just want to just put it out there why, what I mean, what I mean when I say it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
What I mean when I say it is this, homie. Cause you correct. It's a mentality, homie. So when I say ex-gang member, I'm talking about coming out of one mentality,
Into
coming
another.
into another mentality, and
Mhm.
the transformation that takes place as a result of that, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
I'm speaking of something very specific, homie.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a beautiful explanation.
Exactly. Because when you really look at it, when you really do the math on it, homie, it's like, what is the measure for success? Or put it this way, what is the measure of one living in accordance to his or her nature, homie? The measure of one living in accordance with his or her nature is prosperity, homie. So if I
Right.
just did 27 years in prison, homie, you know what I'm saying, and juvenile hall and everything, homie, my life has been a wreck, homie. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So if you do the math on that, you know what I'm saying? there 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 was a problem. You know what I'm saying? There was an obvious problem, homie. And
yeah.
so for me, when I reflected on it and I did the math on it, the problem, it was my criminal thinking and my gang mentality, homie. You know what I'm saying? That was my problem, homie. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But now I understand, you know, that it ain't about, how can I'm just going to leave it like this. Because brother Ron, you know, like I know, if brothers just understood they greatness, homie, if brothers take the time to do some studying and find out who they are, homie, if brothers understood who like brothers like King Narmer was, and list goes on, homie, being like a a straight civilization builders, homie. Now, homie, it's about, like I said, homie, coming out of one mentality, coming into another mentality, and the transformation that comes from that, homie.
Man,
Straight
that's
up.
the definition. I love it. That's it. That's it. So to close out the interview part, I just want to ask you, what advice would you give to someone that is coming up for parole or trying to get on parole or whatever?
Start being serious, homie, because this is the unfortunate thing, homie. You got a lot of homie. I just left. You got dudes, homie. All they want to do all day is play rummy, play scramble. I mean, it's just play. Look, homie. I know we have to unwind this and that, but I'm telling you, son, homie, you don't have to be a scholar. You know what I'm saying? No, but they expect for you to go in there and be able to explain to them how you became the person that did whatever they, said that you did. You know what I mean? But in there, it's a fact. You know what I'm saying? No, if it's on paper, you had did something,
Right.
that's what you did. So anyway, they're going to expect for you to go in there and explain how you became that person right there, homie. And they're going to expect for you to explain how you are no longer that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got to have some type of records, kind of like supporting that. But you also got to be able to show who you plan to become, homie. If they let you out, who do you plan to become at least within the first 5 years after you get out? You're gonna have to be able to do that, homie.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of brothers still, unfortunately, homie, they shucking and jiving, they playing with the game, homie. And you could do whatever the hell you want to do, homie. But I'm telling you, homie, start getting serious and come home, homie.
Amen. Amen, bro. Well, man, that was a mouthful, an earful, spiritful, and I hope that anybody listening to or watching this can take some away from it. He just described his last 27 years and longer than that, his life, and how he became who he is today. So congratulate you on that transformation, brother, because it's not easy. It's not easy. You got to forget about what people think, and that takes courage.
Yeah.
Or playing blind, I don't give a fuck. Whatever you want to call it,
Exactly.
But at this time, I want to go ahead and we're going to do a short meditation because we want to spread the practice of relax and breathe because it really works. It was born in a clinic. This is the method that I founded. This is my own meditation style. There are certain things about what I teach that are proprietary, that's only in Relax and Breathe, or Relax and Breathe emphasizes on more than any other system. So Relax and Breathe is mine. It came from my own practice.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not something I read in a book. It's something that I practiced. And that's the thing about when you practice Dhamma, it's like practicing Kung Fu or something. It's a practice. Over time, you develop like Bruce Lee, he came up with Jeet Kune Do, which was a blend of all the different martial arts, basically. And so Relax and Breathe is kind of similar to that in that way with meditation. So the first thing we do is the relax and breathe is the phrase. So it's a phrase, relax and breathe. You don't have to breathe to relax. You can relax and then
Yeah.
breathe, and because you can relax at will. So what we focus on is the things that tense up in the body first. And the first things that tense up when you go into fight or flight, because we're trying to reverse fight or flight by reprogramming the nervous system from taking us from a sympathetic dominant uh, reaction, which is fight or flight, to a parasympathetic dominant relaxation response to stress instead of fight or
Yeah.
flight. So we're trying to reverse it. So relax means relax your shoulders, relax your hands, relax your face, and relax your gut. Relax your shoulders, hands, face, gut. Breathe means to breathe in through the nose, out the mouth with the diaphragm. The reason why we breathe through the nose is because the nose is a filter. The nose filters the air, warms the air, plus there's the enzyme in your mucus called lysozyme that kills bacteria. So it's the best way to breathe. We breathe with the diaphragm because this is actually how we're supposed to breathe. If you ever see a lion or an animal breathing, you'll see the stomach rising and falling. And the reason why is because the diaphragm, this big muscle, this parachute-like muscle under the rib cage, the heart sits on it and the lungs sit on it. They massage the heart. They allow the lungs to completely oxygenate, and then it allows you to take deeper and deeper breaths and release more air. So you oxygenate your entire body. Okay. It also strengthens willpower too. So you can use it if you're trying to do anything stressful. That's why runners, they breathe diaphragmatically. Opera singers breathe diaphragmatically. Swimmers breathe diaphragmatically because that's the proper way to breathe overall. Okay. Um, so we breathe in through the nose, out the mouth with the diaphragm. So let's do the relaxation part. Me and you, BoMani. BoMani RA. I like that name. I like the RA. It roars like a lion. So relax your shoulders, relax your hands, relax your face, relax your gut. And let's take a deep breath through the nose, out the mouth with the diaphragm. We're going to do it 3 times together. In, hold it in your gut, out, in, through the nose, out. One more time together. In, hold it, and out. How you feel, bro?
Nah, I mean, I feel her tap, which is peace. I mean, nah, yeah, that's definitely something that I've been doing. Yours is a little different though. Like I told you, the like pot belly breathing. I'm kind of familiar with that, but no, it's definitely calms you down.
Mm-hmm.
Calms you down, gets your mental stable. You know what I mean? It
Right.
stabilizes you.
Stabilize you.
Yeah.
That's the word. So now we're going to just sit here. We're going to just watch the breath go in and out the nose. And we're going to lock all of our attention on the breathing. We're going to do that for about 5 minutes. Just watching the breath go in and out of the nose. You take all your mental attention, put it there at the nostrils. And you could do this too to calm you down if you ever feel stress, anger, or anxiety. In Dharma, they call that anapana, where you're just watching the breath go in and out the nose. And once you do that, once you're successful at locking your attention on there, there's this euphoria that happens in your brain. It releases the dopamine and all the different good hormones in the brain that hit your reward center just for accomplishing that little goal of keeping your attention right there. So let's do that. I'm gonna go ahead and put my little timer on. I'm gonna do it for 5 minutes. Are you ready,
Yeah.
bro? All right. So relax your shoulders, relax your hands, relax your face, relax your gut. Take a deep breath. Just keep all your attention at the nostrils. Just sense the breath going in and out. Get distracted, just bring your attention back to the nostrils. Watch the breath. Was you able to lock in on it, bro?
Exactly. Even though, it tends to be like a lot of distractions out here, but that's the same way it was in there, So I kind of got a little experience to be able to do two things at one time, as far as we
Yeah.
go.
Mm-hmm.
But nah, it brings it brings everything into balance, because we tend to have a lot of things on our mind. So many things are going on, and a lot of times we just need to just bring it all in and just clear our like register. You know what I mean? And so that's what that does.
Hey, I'm gonna try to get on CK Bo. He right here. He said, "I'm in here." Hey, come on. Let me see. Is he trying to get it? Oh, he right here. I'm gonna bring him on. He'll be our special guest.
Right,
Hold me on right quick. I ain't
right,
talked to him
right,
in years. Huh?
right. But okay, but look, let me say this: because of certain it should just be me and you. I'll tell you why
Oh,
later. I'll tell you why
oh,
later.
okay,
But like I
okay.
said, you got to be mindful because you got people who like
Yeah,
we know who are loved ones and all of that. We know. I mean, and look, let me just say this for like the public, right? Really take this to heart, homie. We're in a very vulnerable situation. I'm talking about people like myself,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Because
Thank
if
you for
you
saying
do the
that. Go ahead.
wrong thing, even though you got the best intentions, if
Right.
you do the wrong things, there's always people see woo 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 boom, and it turns into something. It ain't you know what I mean? We on some positivity. You know what I'm saying
Yeah,
though? And
yeah,
I know Bo is on some positivity,
yeah,
but you got other people that you know what I mean. And so I'm just homie. You got to be very careful about that. Got to be
yeah,
very much
yeah,
because they turn it into something that is not. I mean,
yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you for reminding me, bro. Because like you said, you can have good intentions. You know, I got the best
yeah, you
intentions,
do.
but I don't want to get nobody caught up. You know what I'm saying? So
And
yeah,
I want him to know, you know what I mean, that I know it's all, it's all up, but I know he understands what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
man, you got, man, it's a trip. It's a trip,
yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah,
He said, just yeah. I got you.
yeah.
He said, just do your interview, bro. I got you. It's all understood. But yeah, that I'll be glad when you rein me in, because I'm out here. I'm squared in the mug.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, I'm so square now, and I'm glad to be where I'm at. I'm
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. Hmm.
Brother don't even know no better, but got good intentions. I may make a mistake, but I had good intentions. Yeah,
Yeah.
but for real though, hey man, but I appreciate you, bro. I really, I think everything that you said tonight was said articulated in a way that people will understand, and hopefully somebody can take some away from this and
Oh,
learn from the things you said, especially about when they're trying to come up for parole. All of that
yeah,
stuff, all of them was gems. So
yeah,
y'all play this video back and watch my man break down, what it means to be an ex-gang member, uh, how to get out of jail, how to come up for parole and do it right. I think one of the things I wanted to quote you on was you said that when it comes to when you're coming up for that type of situation for parole or something, you got to take it seriously. You know,
yeah,
you got to take it seriously.
yeah. On the real, and
Mm-hmm.
and I just want the brothers to know though that I'm rooting for all of them. You know what I'm saying? Because like me and you was talking about a couple days ago, that when you think back, we at heart we were all good kids, homie. You know what I'm saying? No, I mean we grew up how we grew up, this and that, but homie, we was all good kids for the most part, homie. Well, as far as like good at heart, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But we came up the way we did, you know what I'm saying? and it just is what it is. But now, focus on what you got to do. Iron all that out. You and focus on getting home and getting back to your family. But not only that, you know what I mean. So you can start to contribute. You know what I mean, to the furtherance of the people, homie. You know what I'm saying? Because just looking at Southeast and all of that, it's not what it was. I'm not talking about the like negativity part. I'm talking about just growing up, the richness of it, homie. How I'm talking about. Okay, you 59, 50. So just think about this. Remember how? Look, my mama got pictures. We got pictures of me as a kid at Ocean View Park, because my daddy lives around the corner of Ocean View Park. But remember when all the bands used to be up there
Yeah,
and everything? Yeah,
yeah.
like Southeast used to be there. Like, our parents would probably take us there and we be, it's like how all that used to be, Colina Park, all that. It's like we don't have that no
The
more, homie.
Interfest, I think, was at ECC.
We don't have that no more, homie, because we done lost our community, homie. You know what I mean? But we done played a big part in that too.
Right.
But what I'm trying to say is we're needed out here, but we're not needed out here to be back on the same BS though. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Though?
Right.
We're needed out here to help rebuild, homie.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
all I want to say, homie.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That sums it up, bro. That's the purpose of this conversation, is to rebuild,
Yeah.
to rebuild the community, to rebuild minds, to give them a tool. Relax and Breathe is a tool that you can use in the privacy of your own time, in your own home or in your car, wherever you're at. Relax and breathe, because it's a solution.
Yeah.
And allow the transfer of your mindset. Allow that transfer to happen.
Yeah.
There's some people out there straddling the fence. There's some people that's resisting it, but let it happen.
We're great, homie. Man, I read some. I don't even know how many books I read. Man, when you find out who you are and you find out we're great, homie. We're great.
The thing about the great part, and I can admit that I've struggled with the great part myself, is the fact that we're afraid of how great we are. We're afraid of our greatness. Some
That's
of
the
us, not
paradox
everybody.
right
Some
there.
people embrace it,
Yeah.
but some people, yeah, you get a
That's the
good glimpse
paradox.
of what your potential is and who you supposed to be or who you can be or who you are, and then it scares the daylights out of you because of your self-worth. You're
Yeah.
dealing with some self-esteem issues and some failures or whatever in life, and wow, I'm supposed to be that. I'm supposed to do that. And as an adult, everything's
Yeah.
surreal. It's like
Yeah.
as a kid, we within our instincts and stuff. We moving
Yeah.
around and we're not thinking too much. But you become an adult and everything's surreal.
Yeah.
Wow. It's so, all I'm saying that to say is don't be afraid.
Nah,
Embrace
don't
your
be afraid. Don't
greatness.
be afraid.
Don't be
Don't be
scared.
afraid.
Embrace your greatness.
Yeah.
Embrace your
Yeah.
greatness. Yes, sir. All
All right,
right, bro. Well, we can
brother.
wrap it on up, man. I think we covered a lot
Oh, one thing
of
we didn't
ground.
cover, brother. One thing we didn't cover before we go: the explanation of the name.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm over here touting it,
Yeah.
advertising it. BoMani RA.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means masculine vital force, homie.
Man.
Because it's your vitality, homie. That's everything. And when I say vitality, I'm talking about that life force energy that powers our whole vehicle, homie. You know what I'm saying? When we start talking about our like mental, there's an energy that powers that. When you start talking about our just physiology and just everything, homie, us walking and all of that, there's an energy that powers that, homie. You know what I mean? So, when you start talking about energy, we know that energy is governed by law. You know what I mean? And so that's why when you really think about it, just really think about this. Energy, vitality is at the root of everything that we do.
Yeah.
So if you got a strong vitality, you're gonna be pushing. If you have a weak vitality, right, you're gonna be vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
So, and this is all, I mean, this is all about, law. Because like I said, energy is governed by law. So anyway, what I'm getting
Yeah.
at is that when you start talking about that masculine vital force, it's because you got the masculine and the feminine. But with that masculine, we need to exert that because it's that aspect, what I'm saying, of the energy that's going to dispel, all of that negativity that we kind of like found ourselves in, as far as that like how can I say it, like just in plain language, like a lot of that ignorance and a lot of that laziness that I had
Mm.
on mine, it was by me tapping into that energy and exerting that energy that it helped me to dispel it. You know what I mean? To
Right.
overcome it and to try, you know what I mean? And to
Mm.
harness it in such a way to where it brought me out of the darkness and in the light is what I'm getting at.
Wow. And I like the fact that it's a masculine name.
Yeah,
You know, so that's kingly,
yeah,
masculine, vital force. Vital
yeah,
force, not just force, masculine force, masculine vital force. Vital is the
yeah,
word that means that it's essential.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
essential, vital. It's something that's
And
vital.
force is
That's
power.
essential,
You know
right?
what I'm
And
saying?
force is
Yeah,
power. And so, in even in meditation, uh, that vital force is also recognized as prana in India,
yeah.
ka in Egypt, I believe.
What is the car?
Yeah, ka, and then chi in China, ki in Korea, and and in Buddhism it's the breath,
Exactly.
the breath. So all of those words mean breath. So when you talk
Exactly.
about vital force, that's the most vitalest force that's in our body is our breath. You know.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And that's the beauty about meditation because the breath got to be channeled. You know what I'm saying? So when you really think about when you use drugs, it affects the breath. When you eat food, you know what I mean? It affects the breath. You know what I'm saying? When you have sex, you have a climb. All of these things, they uh they can tend to sapping away at your vitality. They affect your breath, and they can come to put you in a stupor. Is what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
when you look at just take my life. You know what I'm saying? The way that I was living, drinking 40s all day, smoking weed all day, getting shermed out all day. Vitality is shot. I'm not vital at all. You get what I'm saying? No, but that explains the problem, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, you
Right.
you you got a whole neighborhood of individuals whose life force is weak because you just high all day.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? No, and so when you start understanding, now have a righteous diet. Now you could everybody got different types of diet, but I'm trying to say though, have a righteous diet. Whatever that may be for you. Watch the things you eat. Watch the things you drink. You know what I mean? Don't just put anything into your body. So on and so forth, because these things can sap your vitality. You know what I mean, and make you prone to like all kind of like weaknesses and illnesses and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
that masculine vital force. Tapping into that, getting that thing going, empowering yourself up. To have that right state of mind to push the way you need to push.
And another reason why I like that word masculine too is because a lot of these youngsters out here, they've been raised by
Yeah,
women, and they think being tough is to be violent, to
yeah,
pull a gun. and just go straight for the neck. When in actuality, real strength is exercised through calmness and patience and the breath. And so those two things, elements being together, to me, the masculine and the breath is what helps calm you down.
Yeah.
And so if you're staying calm, you're more masculine. Because
martial arts teaches.
that's really masculine, to be calm, to be cool and collective, to handle stress like a man, instead of feeling like you got to go get a gun and a knife and kill somebody, you know, just because you're mad. Or, you know, another thing about when we grew up, we used these. You know, these was how we, if it did get to that point, we went toe to toe. You know, we went blow for blow. And guess what? Afterward, we'd have respect for each other. You know how many people I have fights with that we stayed cool, you know, afterward, we shook hands. You know, it didn't start off that way, you know, over some time, you know, things get cool, but you have a mutual respect for somebody that you fight, because it takes real courage or blind, don't give a damn to do that.
Look at man in his eye.
Yeah, look him in his eye. Punch him in the face. Let him punch you back. Or, I mean, try not to let him punch you back, but you get the point. Yeah, it was like, that was really masculine, you know, to do that. But it's more masculine, let's get before the fight. It's more masculine to be able to articulate your feelings, to control them, to be able to calm a situation down, calm yourself down, talk things through, and then you both live to see another day. You know, but you know, I know that's you know, a long shot, but it's something we need in our culture. We need real masculinity, not this, you know, impatient, quick, short-temperedness. You know, that's not masculine.
Well, you know, I mean, what I was taught was that man is supposed to be, you know, a ruler over his environment. You know, man being male and female, but man is supposed to be a ruler over his environment, homie. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, you know, that shows and proves itself. We haven't been rulers over our environment, you know what I mean? And so that shows you, you know, where the problem lies at, you know. But we can go on and on about that, you know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother get down.
That's a whole nother, that's what I was gonna say. I was thinking maybe we should do another show where we just
that's a whole nother thing that we can focus on that. Yeah, we can focus on that.
We could just have a whole nother topic where we have a title for the show, a topic, and then we chop it up. And that would be part 2. And then I bring on somebody like my man Brother Rob, or, you know, Psycho Rob, or CK, somebody, you know, we do the same thing. But we need to talk. We need to show them how we
brothers
talk.
Brothers like that need to be out there. I mean, like I ain't seen the brothers in, you know, in a long time. You know what I'm saying? Though, but what I'm saying though is, but you having that, you know, you having this medium, you know what I mean? If the brothers can articulate on that level, I mean, the world needs to hear from them, homie.
Yeah.
You know? So
it's all about legacy. You know, we ain't gonna be here tomorrow, ain't promised, as they say. So let's go ahead and show them how real men talk. You know, even the ones from the street, the ones that we know. You know, let's chop it up. But anyway, I'm not gonna keep you no longer, bro. You've been great, bro. You know, we've got a lot of people chime in with us. Lil Bobby, aka Psycho Rob, Brother Rob, said peace to the gods. Kyle, he's a friend of mine. What's up, Kyle? Thanks for tuning in. Of course, Shalom Moore tuned in, and we've had a lot of people stop through. Sharice and Mama AZ and all of you who tuned in tonight. I appreciate you. You guys play back this video, share it. We'll be loading it up to YouTube, so it'll all be on one of our channels. Yeah, and then we'll take it from there.
I'm good. Yeah.
So anyway, so we're gonna close it out, bro. BoMani RA, we appreciate you, man. We love you, and thank you for your time. And
Oh,
thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Relax and Breathe with me. I'm your brother, your host, Brother Rock. And we
Hotep.
signing out.
You can relax to this while I kick back to this. While I spin your mind on its axis. I'm galactic, feel the magic. You can grab it, cause you can have it without the static. Silly rabbit, bad habits got you living life that's tragic. But I'm pragmatic, and it's emphatic that you learn the mathematics, the diaphragmatics. Cause knowledge is bliss. The present is